This afternoon's session is on Vevox, so it's called Real-Time Student Engagement and Polling, getting started with MTU's new Vevox platform. My name is Sarah Patterson and I'm an instructional designer here in the Department of Technology Enhanced Learning in MTU. So I'll just get straight into what we're going to be covering today. So hopefully you can see my screen. So the outlines for the session today is I'm going to cover what Vevox is, because it's new to MTU, and how you can use it. Then I'm going to go into a demo. So I'm going to show you how you can create a Vevox session, how you can create a live poll or quiz. You could create an asynchronous survey or quizzes. So when I say asynchronous, I mean on demand, so people do it in their own time. And I can also show you how to use Vevox in Canvas. And then I'll go over some of the supports that we've created that can help you when using Vevox as well. So next slide. So what is Vevox? Vevox is an audience response tool. If you've ever used other audience response tools like Mentimeter, etc., it's kind of like that. Also, if you ever used Kahoot, it can be used for quizzing as well. So you can use Vevox to poll your students or even participants in an event, or you can use it for quizzes as well. And they can either be live or asynchronous, as I said, and they can also either be in person or online. So another thing you can do with Vevox is it has a Q&A feature. So I know we have a Q&A feature here on in Zoom. So actually, if you're in this live session in Zoom and you have any questions, you can put them in the Q&A tab here in Zoom, and I can get to them at the end. But if you were doing maybe a session where you wanted to show the questions on the board, on the display, you can have Q&A turned on in Vevox, and then you can show questions that come up during a session. I'll give a few more example use cases so you can get more of an idea of how you might use Vevox. So for online classes and events, so say you have an online class and you want to quickly quiz your students in your class, you can either get them to scan a QR code and then they can take the quiz on their phones, or you can even just send them a link to the quiz and they can do that and it can be a live quiz. You can then even turn that live quiz into an asynchronous one for anybody that couldn't attend, and you could have that in Canvas if you wanted to. You could also use it for events. So maybe if you have a webinar, just like this webinar, if you're doing training with staff or something like that, you can do it for that too. Face-to-face classes and events. So if you have something in a lecture hall and you want to either poll or quiz your students, you can do that. It works the same way. It's better to get people to join by going to the Vevox website, because they might not be able to get up to the board and scan the QR code, and you probably can't send them a link because you're in person. But all you have to do is ask them to go to the website vevox.app, and then there'll be an ID and it'll be like nine numbers, and they type that in and then they've joined this session basically. And when I say vevox.app, it's not actually an app on your phone, it's just a website. So all they have to do is open their browsers on their phone or on their laptops, and then they can go to that website and put in that code. So it's very simple. Next slide. So just some other use cases. So as I said, in-class polls, you could do it for formative assessment activities. So maybe you could put a quiz into Canvas and you could have it see how well your students know certain topics, so you can put quiz questions in there. You could also have on-demand surveys, so maybe you want to survey your students about what they're thinking about in the module you're doing, how they're getting on in the module. So you could do a survey, anonymous, or a where you know who's answered the question. You can also do Q&As for virtual or hybrid meetings. So that's really only some of the things that you could use it for, and I'm sure you could think of other things that you could use it for. But I'm going to get into the demo now. So what I'll do is I'll exit my presentation. I'm going to show you live how to do all of these things. So if I just go here. So this is my Vevox homepage, and that's what your Vevox homepage will look like too. And just before I go into showing you all the different parts of it, I'll just show you, you'll be accessing it through mtu.vevox.com. That's the website. That's where you'll log in. And in order to get an account, at the moment, we don't have SSO turned on. Instead, you just email us edtech@mtu.ie, and we'll set you up on Vevox. So we'll just send you an invite to Vevox, and then you'll be able to use it. And we tend to send the invite to CIT emails. So you might not know this, but all lecturing staff still have at cit.ie email addresses connected to their Canvas accounts. So we send the invites to their at cit.ie emails, and you'll log in with your at cit.ie email, because then when you use Vevox in Canvas, it will be linked to this account. So everything you've made here will then be available in Canvas as well. So just make sure that those two accounts are linked. It's the same account basically. But so all you have to do is remember that you're logging in with your at cit.ie email and not your MTU one. But they are kind of still the same email, if you get me. So I'll go over what everything is. So you can see here, these are all the sessions that I've made on this account. And you can see some say started, some say waiting. So started means that they're live, and waited means that it's not live yet, basically. And I'll just click here, settings. This is basically just if you want to change your password, and additional profile information if you wanted to change that. And then up here, let me just go back there. Up here, if you need help, so you can find help from Vevox themselves. They have a lot of help articles. This isn't where you'd find help specifically that we've made. You click help here, there's a few options. You can click getting started, and it'll do a little getting started video for you. There's a help center. So if I click that, it opens up their help site with all their help articles. And there's a what's new page. So that's just a video showing you new updates to Vevox. And there's a live chat. So if you have any issues, you can click the live chat as well. And then down here, they have videos and webinars as well. So I'm going to create a session. So just so you know, surveys, polls, quizzes, they're all made in a session, and you can all have them into one session, or you could put them in different sessions depending on what you need. And you'll see what I mean as I go through it. So first thing I'm going to do is create a session. So one sec now, I'm going to click create session, and I'll give it a name. So I'm just going to say Sarah session, and I'll put today's date, which is the 16th of January, and click create. And then you'll see it's opened up that session. So I'm ready to start configuring it. But just to show you, if you click back to sessions, then you'll see that session I just made is at the top. So I know that that's where it is. So I'm going to go back in again. And before I show you how to make anything in it, we can have a quick look at the settings as well. So if I click settings here, the settings tab, there's 5 tabs within that settings tab that you configure, and that can be different for each session you have. So you might want one session to be anonymous and one not, for example. So first I'll show you, there's the setup tabs. You can rename the session if you decide you want to change it. You can put a schedule on it if you want, and that'll just show up when students are looking at it. You can change the home screen image, and you can change the text that comes up here. So if I just say welcome to this session, you'll see later how that looks on the student or the participant's device. Then features. So here you can turn on or off the Q&A. So for the moment, just while I'm demoing this other stuff, I'm going to turn off the Q&A. Also, there's different poll sessions you can do, and I'm not going to go through these in detail because we have limited time. I have 30 to 40 minutes to go over everything, but what you can do is in the supports that we send, there'll be information on all of these different buttons and what they do. Then identification. So this is where you choose whether the poll or the quiz or the survey is going to be anonymous or not anonymous. So if you click identify, that's going to show people's names. But if you want them to be anonymous, you click that. And you can also choose if it's password protected. So if you want that, you could just tell your students what the password is. Then I'll go and click theme. So if you have a different logo, maybe you have a logo of some sort of project you're on, you could change the logo here. You can change the colors as well. And you can change the text. And then finally in this tab, there's an option to add co-hosts. So basically, maybe you're doing a big event and you have the Q&A turned on and you want someone to be able to moderate the questions while you're actually delivering this event. You can add a co-host and they can do all that. They'll have access to the session in Vevox as well as you do, and they can do things like moderating the Q&A. So all you need to have there is that they need to also have a Vevox account. So you just click here and you type in their name or you choose them from the list, and then they can be a co-host on your session. So that was just a quick intro to the settings, but feel free when you have a Vevox account to just try them out and see how they look. You can test it out and pretend to be a participant or a student and then see how it looks for you. So I'll click save there. And you'll also notice there's this start session thing at the top. So this means that even if you shared the join stuff to your students here, they won't be able to actually engage with it at all because it hasn't been started. So even if I had polls and stuff there, they won't be visible until I've actually started the session. So I'm gonna click create new just to show you though, beside the create new here, there's a couple of options as well. So you can do an AI quiz. Basically that means you could put in a topic and it will generate questions, AI questions. But I think it's really important to vet these questions and make sure they're actually accurate questions and answers. And maybe even I would suggest going to, I think we have a AI session next week or the week after. So you can ask about that there. You can also import polls. So if you export a poll maybe from another session, you can import it then into the session you're working on. Or one really handy thing as well is that you can add previous questions. So questions that maybe you've used for a different session, you can just click and add them there so you don't have to keep typing out the same thing. So I'm just going to click create new, and just to say polls and quizzes are on the same tab. So the only difference between a poll and a quiz is that you're selecting a correct answer basically. And the polls are for live events or live classes. So if you're doing something live with your students or with participants, and then surveys are if it's on demand. So you're not expecting people to be live doing it. So click create new. You'll see there's a bunch of question type options that you can choose from. And you've probably seen question types like this on other tools that you've used in the past. So there's multiple choice, word cloud, text, ranking, numeric, rating scale, XY plot, and pin on image. I won't be able to go through all of these in detail, but feel free to test them out yourselves when you're trying out Vevox. So I'm just going to stick with multiple choice for now, and that's probably one of the more common ones that you'd be using. And I'm just going to demo making a quiz question. It's the same as the poll, but you're just selecting a correct answer. So I'm going to put in what is the capital of France? That's my question. If I wanted to, I could add an image with it. So maybe I want to add a picture of France or something like that. And then I can add in my answers. And obviously I have to provide at least two choices for it to be a quiz. So I'll put in London, Paris, Dublin, and Rome. And then at the moment, this is just acting like a normal poll. So you wouldn't you just see how many people have answered each answer, but since it's a quiz, we want to select what the actual correct answer is. So to do that, you just hover over the A with the tick. So the answer is Paris. So I'm going to set that as the correct answer there. And then if I want, I can add in an explanation of why that's the correct answer underneath as well. And if you have a question, either a poll or a quiz that has multiple correct answers, or you just want your students to be able to give multiple answers to a poll, you can change the number of allowed selections. So you'll see here there's 4 because there's 4 answers. The maximum would be 5 if there was 5 answers you put there, etc. And you can also change the way the answers are displayed. So it can either be a bar chart or a pie chart. So I'll put in a pie chart for this, and then I'm going to click create. And I'm going to just create one more now, and then we'll demo how it actually looks like for students or for participants in your session. So I'll click create new again. And this time I'm going to go with numeric. And I'm going to say, how many counties are in Ireland? Again, I could add a picture of Ireland if I wanted to. Then you can do minimum and maximum values that people can answer. So I'm just going to put in 1 to 100. I'm not going to give decimal places because the answer is a whole number. And then I'm going to select set correct answer. So if this was a poll, I wouldn't select that. I'd just let people answer how they want. So set correct answer. Answer is 32. And then error margin, I'm not going to have any error margin. I want them to get it exactly right. Maybe you'd have a different type of question where you give people an error margin of within 5 or within 10. You could put that in there if you wanted to. And also you can give it a correct answer explanation as well. So now I will click create. So I've done 2 questions. I'm ready to now display these questions to my students or to the participants in my event. So maybe you want to test it out first. And I do recommend you test these things out first, and you can reset everything anyway, so it won't skew the results when you're looking at them afterwards. So to do that, you can just click here. There's an open participant app. So if I click that, this is the view that any participants will have when they join your session. And you see here it says waiting for the host to start. That's because our session still isn't started, it's not active. So what I will do is go back in and I can click start session. And then I'll go back in here and you'll see the session started, and you see here that's where I wrote welcome to this session, and that's the image. And also whoever's joining can see that it's anonymous as well. And also show you now, I'll go into the presenter mode, so you can just click the full screen, and I'm going to make it open on a new tab. So I'm going to click this one. And this is the actual screen that you'll be sharing. So if you are in an online class and you want to do a poll or a quiz with people, or if you're in person and want to do one, you'd be sharing this screen. This screen is for configuring it all and handling it all. You wouldn't be showing this one. This is the one that you'll actually have people be able to see either in person or online. And I might allow people, if they want to, join this session. So you can join either by scanning the QR code if you want to try that out. So I'll leave that up there for a few seconds, but I'll also share a link to everyone as well. That might be the easiest. And I would suggest, if you're doing an online class, to just share the link as well. So if I go back in, I'm going to just copy app link. So now I have the link, and I'm just going to share that with everyone here. And you can join via that link as well. And now I know you already know the answers to questions, A, because they're very easy, and B, because you saw me set it up. But still, just to test how it looks. So now everybody that's joining the session should be able to get this either on their browsers or on their phones. So now I can just go back in here, and we'll start with showing the first question. So what I'm going to do is just click open poll. And then you'll see, so we've got 9 people joined, that's great. And the questions are here. So it's what is the capital of France? And I can see as people answer it, the number goes up. And once I'm satisfied everybody's answered the question, or most people have answered the question, then I can close the question. So I'll just wait another few seconds for people to answer. So you can either go to my link, or the QR code's still there, or you can even try to go to vevox.app and type in 104-769-928. I'll just wait another few seconds and take a sip of my drink. Okay, so I'm just gonna close the poll now. And we can see that 100% of people picked Paris. And then I can hide that if I want to show it. And then I can show what the correct answer was. So I'm just going to click show correct answer, and we'll see Paris. So everybody got that right. Well done. And now for the next poll. So the next quiz question, how many counties are in Ireland? And you'll see that should appear on your phones or on your browsers as well. So if you want, it should have changed basically by me clicking that. So you can type it in, and I can do it myself as well. So I'm just going to type in 32 there. I missed doing the other one. And then go back to my presenter view and wait a few seconds as well. As you can see, there's 11 people joined. Or wait, only 5 have answered. So we'll just wait another few seconds for people to type in. Okay, I think I'll move on. So if I just click close poll again, you can see some people put 26, and I did wonder because it's 26 in the southern, or no, and then 32 counties in all of the island of Ireland, but 26 if you remove the British part of Ireland. But I would say both are right, really. So I'll show correct answer, and we have 32. And so that's how you do it, basically. And there's not another poll, so I won't go to next poll. You could also do a timer if you want, but I won't have time to show that. But I would say it's probably best not to put a timer in case people have issues with their devices. So I'm going to go back in now, and what I'll do is click hide results. So your screen should go back to normal. And now I'm going to show you how to do a survey, and I'll just do it in the same session. So that means if you have this, if you still have this screen open, the survey will appear for you as well, so you can see it live as well. So I'm going to click surveys, and you'll see it has the import button as well, so you can import from other sessions, and it has create new as well. So you can see here, it asks you to set up like a survey front page, which is helpful when it's not live because you're not there to introduce yourself. So I'm just going to do Sarah survey. Then you can edit the description if you want. You can shuffle question order. Again, they have the AI quiz and they have previous questions, but if you click add question, it has all or a lot of the same ones that the polling tab has. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to click previous questions. So I'm going to pretend like I have a class where some of the students weren't able to attend live, but I want them to be able to answer the questions just the same as the people that did attend live. So all I have to do is then click the surveys tab on my session and then do this previous questions. And then I can just add it. So we've got, because I've been practicing this session before, it's coming up a couple of times, but basically I'll just click add question. And then I want to add the other one, which was how many counties in Ireland. And there, that was really quick, easy to set up. And then if I click start quiz, you'll see there's a new tab on your participant view. And when you open that, it'll have the quiz, and you can open it and then you can take it. So if I go, just going to click Paris and 32. And there we go. And then it shows you, this is the way it's set up, it shows you that you've got 2 out of 2 correct. So that's how you do surveys, basically. So if I just go back in here, and the next thing I want to show you is data or data, however you pronounce it. So you can see when you click the data tab, you can have a look at how the participation on your session. So you can see here we have 12 total participants, 11 active. So that means 12 people logged into the session, but only 11 of them actually did any of the questions. Basically, we've got 20 interactions and a 92% participation rate. So it's a nice visual. You can actually download this image if you want something visual, if you want to share it with anyone. You can also share all of this data by clicking the share button here and do a public link. You could add a passcode to it if you don't want anybody to be able to access this link. And when I just copy this link here, I'm gonna fill in. And then so you could share that with anyone and they can see all this data from your session. So it has the poll results, Q&A results. We haven't actually done Q&A yet, survey results, and attendees. And since it's anonymous, it's all different. It's just showing these are all different anonymous people that logged in. So then if you want to download it as a Excel spreadsheet, you can do that by clicking here on data report. It'll just download it all as an Excel spreadsheet. So if I can show you that, it's just opening on my machine there. 1 second. There we go. So this is the spreadsheet. So it has the polling summary, polling results, survey summary, etc. on it. Also, so you can see it has all the different questions I did, and you can download those as images as well. And so since you can see that this is really a test session, if you wanted to do something similar and have a test session, but then you want to clear all of this data for when you're actually doing it for real, you just click reset session here and it'll reset everything and you can do everything again and it won't have the data from when you tested it. And then finally in the Vevox app itself, I'll show you Q&A. So I had it turned off, but I'm going to turn it on just to show you. So we have our Q&A board. I'll turn that on. And what I'll do as well is I'm going to turn on moderation to show you. And it's probably, if you're doing a live event, you probably want moderation turned on so that when questions come in, they don't display without you moderating them first, just in case something that you don't want displayed comes up, basically. So I'll show you in presenter view, when you're showing that to people, it'll come up. Please submit your questions. Questions are moderated, so may not appear immediately. And also you'll see now there's a new tab in that in the participant view. So I'll do a test one, but people are welcome to add in a question themselves as well. Just it'll be visible in this session. So I'm just going to do test question here. Click send. And then I'm going to go back into Vevox and you'll see it says needs review because I have it moderated. And you'll also see it's not being displayed here yet because I haven't moderated it. So if I go back in here again, I'm going to say that question's fine. I don't mind that being shown. So I'm going to click move to published here. So this button here and then move to published. And then you'll see that question is published. You can also see that there's like a like button on the question. So if you have a lot of Q&A questions coming in and you can only cover a few of them, maybe you could ask participants to vote for their favorite questions by liking them. And then that means you could prioritize those questions. So that's what the liking is for, really. So that's how that works. And you can also pause. So maybe if you need to pause it for a while, you can just pause and then people won't be able to message and you can unpause it by turning back on, basically. So finally, I'm going to show you how to use Vevox in Canvas. So your Vevox account is linked with your Canvas account, so you're able to access everything you've made here in Canvas. So I'm just going to open Canvas here. And I just have a testing module that we use. Before I show you how to use Vevox in Canvas, it's one thing I just want to suggest that you use Vevox in Canvas for on-demand stuff, for asynchronous stuff, because if you're doing a live event, it's easier to just ask people to scan a QR code or send them a link rather than ask them to log into Canvas. So it's probably easier to just to save all live stuff for the actual, the Vevox website. And then if you're doing on-demand stuff for surveys that people take in their own time, then you can do that through Canvas. So I'll just show you how you can set that up. So just like adding anything to Canvas, you have a unit for it, and then you just press the add button. And then you can click external tool from the drop-down list. and then select Vevox. And it'll take a second to load because it's looking for your account basically with the same email. And you'll see here that it has the session that I just made earlier. But you could also create a session yourself. So I'll show you how to do that first. So if you click create session, I'm going to give it a name. So Sarah Canvas Vevox. And then click create. And that should create there. It usually does. I don't know why that didn't work. Let me try it again. Sarah Canvas Vevox. Okay. I'm not sure why that didn't happen, but I would. Oh, it is there. I'm just blind. There it is. I'm blind. So you click into it, and then as I said, we suggest you leave live polling to the main Vevox instead of using it in Canvas. So instead, you can click create new on a survey and give the survey a name. So I'm just going to say Sarah Vevox Canvas quiz, and then do this little tick and click on that. And then you have the option of having it anonymous or identified here. And basically, if you're doing formative assessment with your students, you might want to have it as identified. But if you're just surveying them, you don't need to know who they are. You can have it as anonymous, basically. So I'm just going to click anonymous, click done, and then you'll see it's now loaded up there. And then what you need to do is click into it, and you'll need to configure it. So you're actually configuring it in the regular Vevox anyway. So you just click open in new tab, and then you configure it as you would, like I showed you earlier in this session. So what I would suggest you do, just to not add extra steps, is to configure it in the main Vevox, log into the main Vevox, and then just add it to Canvas when you're ready. So same steps, you just go in, you add external tool, Vevox here. So we've got the session that I was showing you. So I'll click that, and I'm going to click the survey. That's what I want them to be able to do. And then I'll just do anonymous again. Give it a second. There we go. I'm going to click in. Well, actually, I know it's set up and ready to go, so I'm going to publish it. Going to click in. Again, if you wanted to make any edits, you'd open it in the new tab. But if you just want to see what it looks like for a student in Canvas, I'm going to click view as student. And you'll see they've got the quiz there that they can go straight to and do. So again, just click Paris, 32, submit. Now they've done that in Canvas, and I still have the Q&A turned on, so that's on there, but maybe you turn that off if it was asynchronous. So if I turn it off there, it's gone, and it's just the quiz in Canvas, basically. So what I would suggest actually as well is a good idea is if you have a live poll that you've done in your class, and maybe you want now people who missed that poll to be able to do it in Canvas. Then you do, as I said, you make a survey and you add the previous questions, and then you add it to Canvas just as I did. So that's a really good way of getting everybody involved, even if they didn't join the session live, basically. So I'm going to move back into my presentation now. I'll go back in here and on current slide. So the supports that we have. So we have help articles on our help site, and I'll be following up to links to all of this after the session. I think I have the links to this now, actually, so I'll send it in the chat, but I'll also follow up with it. Second. So there's the link in the chat. So we have a bunch of help articles on how to do all the things that I covered today in a bit more detail. And also something new that we've created is a Canvas training module. So it has all the same information that the help articles do, but because in Canvas we have H5P, there's some H5P interactions in there. So showing you how to configure your sessions might be a bit more easy for you to understand by using the H5P. And also there's some videos in there that aren't in the other help articles. So what I will do is after this session, when I send the recording of the session, I'll send a self-enroll link to everybody so they can enroll on that module and then be able to go through it and practice using Vevox.